Warning: the following program may contain material not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Kill the noise and cut the static. Broadcasting from high in the mountains of West Virginia, we're leaving the 9 to 5 in the rearview mirror. The engine is warm, the lights are green, and it's finally time to shift your Wednesday into overdrive. And now, here's your host, Diego the Podcaster.
On this episode of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, we're turning back the clock to the golden era of Christian hard rock and heavy metal. Formed in 1985, Seraiah built a massive regional legacy in Indiana before taking the entire scene by storm. In 1990, they teamed up with Pure Metal and Star Song Records to unleash their landmark debut, Carnival World, and spending the following years tearing up the highways across the United States. They left an incredible mark on the genre, and today, the name Seraiah is back in the spotlight, with stunning reissues keeping their legacy alive. All this plus more. Please welcome our new friend and one of the legendary founders of Seraiah, Kyle Dietz. Kyle, my friend, welcome to Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for that great intro. Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and as we were talking earlier in the pre-interview, and I'm going to be jumping around a lot here because I have a lot of questions. Because
All right.
the band has quite a history, and white hot band when I was growing up, early teens, and not quite like the whole Rage of Angels thing where a band releases an album and they just disappear. You guys are putting a lot of hard work. You had a couple of albums that came out on Pure Metal. Then it was also on Star Song Records. I think Pure Metal turned into Star Song or something like that, right, at that time.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2026. And I asked this question out of pure love and respect for the band. Why are we hearing Seraiah's name now? Because when I saw this and there's reissues, I was like, I have got to get these guys on the show. So how do we get here?
Well, it's, I guess, just a labor of love for these releases. One of the co-owners of the new label, Aeonian Records, was actually, this kind of shows our age. He was in high school when Seraiah came out and was a huge fan of the band. A guy named Steve Craig, co-owner of Aeonian Records. And Steve has had this in his heart to get these albums re-released and really kind of just done justice because, as much love as there was for that first record, Carnival World, there was a lot of criticism too from, bad record cover to poorly mixed, poorly mastered, the sound on it. For some was not great, and there's a whole story to that. But Steve always had it in his heart that he wanted to get this album remixed, remastered, and kind of get it in the form that it should have been originally. Good artwork, new artwork, which Aeonian has been great with this. Kind of the love and care that they gave this re-release is just kind of unbelievable because, they put a lot of work into it, not only on the technical side of remixing, remastering, but also the in-depth packaging, everything with the record, with the CD version of this re-release. Has an extensive biography of the band, a lot of stories and things about the band coming up that, to be honest, things that I had forgotten until we started doing some interviews to put this biography together. things that I didn't really remember, but just kind of lays out the whole history of the band. Lots of photographs, things that have never been released. We dug deep into the archive to uncover a lot of photos. So the re-release is just a labor of love. Actually, something that Aeonian's been working about 2 years to make happen. They had a lot of issues in getting licensing from, it's not Star Song anymore. The ownership of the record changed hands so many times. I think the latest is Capitol Records, I think, or Capitol Music Group is the one that has it now. But getting the licensing for it took a long time. And then they've just been very meticulous working on this for 2 years to make this happen. So a long answer to answer your question, but really just a labor of love for this record.
It is interesting what you mentioned as far as people giving bands, even, I mean, not just Seraiah. There were other bands too that people gave a real hard time when it came to either production and things like that. Because I mean, even if, well, I'm gonna pick out a band straight out of the air. Like, let's say Bloodgood, right? Their first 2 albums, I always heard, the production is terrible, this and that, but like, you're missing the point. It's raw, hard rock, and heavy metal music, and I think that's even better because something can be overproduced and just takes away from the spirit of the music. But also, I mean, at least for me, I was not just there for the music; I was also there for the message, which was probably the main purpose of what Seraiah was doing at that time.
Oh yeah,
but I was also accustomed, and we talked about this earlier. When I first saw a picture of the band, it was in White Throne magazine, and not only White Throne, but also like Heaven's Metal. First thing I always did is I jump around a few pages, and I start reading about these bands and their demos. I would just buy these demos. I'd have to go mow. I don't know how many times I had to mow the lawn and get some money just to send the money orders out. And same thing, but a lot of these bands, I don't think there was the money at that time to put full production, especially in the Christian metal scene. I don't know, because it seemed like it was a lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, with our demo that was in White Throne, like I mentioned, they really kind of got things started for us as far as things outside of our little Indiana kind of scene that we were in. Kind of interesting story with that. A writer for White Throne, a guy named Doug Peterson, somehow ended up at one of our shows. And I don't know, Doug, you need to tell us the story sometime, but somehow he ended up with a copy of our 4-song demo, which the band at that time had no intention of selling or releasing to the public. It was 4 songs that were recorded like in our rehearsal space. I don't even remember if it was like on a 4-track recorder, if we recorded it on a boombox. I don't even remember. But no intentions of ever getting it out to anyone. And somehow Doug got a hold of that demo, and before we knew it, an issue of White Throne magazine was coming out, and there was a review of our demo with our address and a note that says send $5 and you can get a copy of this tape. And like I said, we had never intended on that happening. And we really did not want that demo to get out to the public. So we started getting letters from all over the world with money orders and checks and probably some cash for $5 to get this demo tape. And we were like, we're not going to put this out. So we issued a letter to everybody that had sent in their $5 and sent a letter back saying, hey, we're going to record a new demo. Hang on for a little bit and we'll get this out to you. So that's what we did. And we went in the studio, recorded 4 I don't know if it was the same 4 songs that were on that original tape, probably. But went in the studio, did that, and I think we printed up about 300 cassettes and started sending those things out. No exaggeration, all over the world. I mean, we were getting letters from literally everywhere wanting that. And that's really kind of got our start. We sold those 300 copies and just kept doing shows throughout kind of the Midwest Indiana area. And things kind of proceeded from there.
And proceeded did because, at least in my time where I was living in Ohio, Seraiah was a very well-known name. And when Carnival World dropped at that time, it was all my friends had it. And then, well, let me go back. Speaking of demos, my very first demo I purchased, it was for $3, and it was everybody knows this band, Living Sacrifice, and it was a standard BASF tape with those 3 songs recorded. And bless them, they did a pretty good job with the cover. It was all hand drawn and with a pen, the titles of the song by pen. There was no, I mean, there's no Photoshop then. We had typewriters,
No.
and if you got that wrong, you had to put white out on it or a piece of tape and hit the key, and it was a whole thing. But later on, the band became legendary. In a sense, same thing with Seraiah, because everybody at that time knew who Seraiah was. So the question is, if you can go back then, if you can remember this, the day before Seraiah landed the deal with Pure Metal Records, what was life for you right before that moment?
I was in college, as were, I guess everybody in the band at that time was in college. Well, we all went to a small university in Indiana. It was originally Marion College, but then it changed to Indiana Wesleyan University. And we were all in college together. Life kind of consisted of going to school and doing weekend concerts throughout the area. It was kind of interesting. You kind of in that area, you could see our progression on the concert flyers. We did a lot of like multi-band shows in that area. When we started out, of course, we were the first name on, the billing with whoever would be the headliner, maybe 4 or 5 other bands. But in a short period of time, I would say within a year, we were the headliner and had 4 or 5, guys, other bands on the bill ahead of us. So made a pretty quick progression in just a short period of time, a couple of years. But yeah, college life and rehearsing with the band, writing music, and doing shows whenever we could. But we had gotten to the point to where, like I said, we were kind of the top bill in that area and really looking to kind of go beyond where we were at. We had kind of done as much as we could at that point. So we were obviously looking to get signed, to get a record deal. And it came about that we heard about a music festival in Illinois called Metal Fest. And at Metal Fest, they were hosting a battle of the bands. And the winner of the battle of bands was going to get a recording contract with Pure Metal Records. We were pretty arrogant guys, I have to say. It's kind of a strange thing. I don't even know how to explain it. We were pretty arrogant. We were pretty full of ourselves, and we saw what was coming, the releases that were coming out on Pure Metal, and we saw kind of just, their MO was bad album covers and poor production. And we thought we were so above that, that we're going to hold out for the big deal. And so anyway, our big plan was we were going to go to Metal Fest. We were going to compete in this Battle of the Bands. We were going to blow everybody away. And we were going to win this record contract with Pure Metal, and we were going to turn it down, was our big master plan. And we went in, and we went in to that Battle of the Bands like we were on a stadium tour. We had pyrotechnics and smoke. We had a keyboard player that was backstage that played an intro. We had choreography worked out, everything, and we blew everybody away and got the record deal. And like I said, our big plan was we were going to show everybody that we were so much bigger and better than anything, on Pure Metal Records, that we were going to turn this thing down. And a little bit of time went by. We got the contract to go ahead and sign. And like I said, we had every intention of just turning this thing down to just, I don't know, to prove a point that we were so much better. But we started hearing from some other bands. We were at the time really good friends with the band Sacred Warrior, and I'd spent a lot of time with those guys, played some shows with them, and also the band Bride, which was on Pure Metal. And they both told us, guys, do not be idiots. Do not turn this thing down. Whatever Pure Metal is going to do for you guys is better than what you're going to be able to do on your own. Just don't be idiots and turn this thing down. So that's what we did. But again, we had every intention of, we were bigger and better, and we knew better. And we went in, and we were actually wanting Ray Parra, the singer of Sacred Warrior, to produce our record. He had a studio lined up. They lived in the Chicago area. He had a studio lined up there. We wanted Ray to produce. We felt like we could trust him, with producing. Pure Metal said, no way, not going to do it. We don't want to pay for that. We have a studio in New Jersey that we work with. We'll bring in our own producer, and we kind of battled over that a little bit, and it basically came down to take it or leave it. You either do it our way or there's no deal. So we did it. And went out to New Jersey, had no pre-production time with the producer at all. Never heard us before. We basically, what we had prepared, rehearsed, is what went down as Carnival World. And tracking and everything with the record was fine. We were inexperienced. We had really been in the studio one time before recording a demo. But I think tracking went well. Everything was good with that. And then the problems started. And all of our fears of working with Pure Metal started to come to light while we were in the studio. Like I said, going into this, we thought we wanted to avoid all the things we had seen about Pure Metal of being cheap and, doing everything kind of on the cheap, cutting corners. We were in the studio, finished tracking, and had, I think, a week set aside to do the mix. And the studio gets a call from the electric company and tells them that they haven't paid their bill and they're going to shut the lights off that day. So what do? Producer calls Pure Metal, calls the label, says, look, they're shutting down the studio today, or I guess it would have been the next day, and we'll just take the recording back. The producer was from Michigan. He said, I got some studios in Michigan. We can take it back and do the mix and everything will be fine. Label said, no way. We're not going to spend a single additional penny on this. You either mix it today before they shut the power off, or there's no mix at all. So that's what we did. Producer, we had an all-night session, mixed the record in one night, which was crazy. And you know, that's part of the issue with the production on Carnival World, is that the mix was done in one day. So anyway, that's kind of started our nightmare with Pure Metal Records. Once the record was actually done, kind of the other cheap aspect of it was we thought the label was giving us some kind of, I don't know, control or artistic freedom or something. They said, oh, you guys, we'll let you design the album cover yourself. And we thought that was just a great idea. We were going to come up with a cover. And what do? You ask a friend who's an artist to do a cover for you. And bless his heart, this is the Carnival World cover is what we got. Like I said, it's kind of been a thorn in our side for 36 years of having to see that cover. You know, but just another thing that was on the cheap. And then, you know, we had a record completed, we had a cover, and then the next thing you know, our record label goes bankrupt. Pure Metal goes bankrupt. And at that point, I think we did the tracking on the record in January, and by summer, the record still had not been released. The record label was bankrupt, and in comes Star Song Records, and they buy Pure Metal and all the artists on Pure Metal. But we still thought maybe this wasn't going to be released. But I think it was 9 months later, almost a year later, it was finally released. I don't know what month it was that year, but almost a year later. So we were left hanging for almost a year thinking, okay, we got this record deal, we recorded this album, and it's not going to get released. But finally, like I said, Star Song stepped in. They put their little touches on it a little bit. They had a producer come in and touch it up just a little bit. One song on the record called Let Him Take Control, somehow in that transfer, the tracks for that song were lost. So Star Song did bring us down and re-recorded that song. And they kind of finished off the artwork and everything. But even they got some things wrong. If anybody happened to buy the cassette cassette of Carnival World, on the spine of the cassette, even Star Song got it wrong, and they had the name of the band as Carnival World and Seraiah real small underneath it. So it was just kind of like one thing after another. But once it was released, that record did well despite all of its shortcomings. I mean, we had one song, Rise Up, went all the way to number 2 on the Christian metal charts. Another song, Devastating Daydream, I think went to like number 7. But we got a lot of radio play out of it. And even though the release was like delayed a year. We did do a small tour. I guess it was released in the fall. That tour would have been the next summer, which would have been, I guess, 91. Yeah, the summer of 91. Did about a 15, 20 date tour, mostly on the East Coast. And yeah, that's kind of the story of Carnival World.
It reminds me a little bit of everything that goes wrong could go wrong kind of thing. Gives me a little Spinal Tap feels on that.
Definitely. We lived it, unfortunately.
I guess looking back now, you can kind of say, I think then not so much fun with what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, as much as it seems like it was just one bad thing after another, then even all these years later, even now, getting feedback online from people that say, I love that album cover. I thought it sounded great back in the day. And, it's like, did it really? Or is that just, I don't know. It definitely had an impact around the world, I think, more so than maybe what we realized. We might have been too focused on all the perceived issues and problems through that whole process. And even on our end of things, that kind of even persisted once we kind of moved over to Star Song Records, because we kind of suffered from similar problems when we did the second record, which was just a self-titled record, Seraiah. It was just everything the opposite. It was overproduced. And fans had an issue with that, this doesn't sound like the band that did Carnival World. This is so polished and kind of poppy. And, I mean, they did good with the album cover. And again, that second record had several songs that charted. We even had the ballad off of that record, a song called Time for a Change, charted like on the pop charts and was successful, but just a lot of the same things. And that's why this re-release of Carnival World has been so sweet, because it, at least for me, I can't speak for the other guys, but been so sweet for me, just kind of, righting some of those, even if they were perceived wrongs that happened. It's kind of, for me anyway, that I can look back and I know it's just kind of aesthetics of, how it looks and sounds, but at least I can look back now and be like, yeah, I'm proud of what we did.
And you definitely should be. Now, I won't bring up the cover. I have the CD here. We're not going to bring that up. We're gonna let sleeping dogs lay on that one. But with the re-release, it's day and night as far as the artwork. I'm gonna bring this up right now, and then let's talk about this concept. And totally different. And I'm gonna cheat. I'm not gonna bring it up. The logo, completely different logo. Mm-hmm. Now, was this concept of this album cover, was it a joint effort between you and the record company, or did you leave that up to them to come up with what they would think would be best for Seraiah?
Totally left it up to the label, Eonian Records. Like I said, it was a lot of trust there, because just knowing that Steve Craig had such a love for the band, that I knew that they would do right by us. But I did see some mock-ups before the final cover was picked. I mean, it borders on the same concept of the original album cover. Just the execution is much, much better. Being that this is 36 years later, the label said, why don't we do a logo refresh? So we did that as well. But this new cover is more along the lines of, I think, what we envisioned all those years ago and just weren't able to execute. The concept was, there's this old B movie called Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And there was these really scary clowns in this movie. And we had already come up with the title Carnival World based on the title track on the record, which really just talks about kind of like the comparison to how when you go to a carnival, all the carnies are there to kind of deceive you and trick you, and you think you're going to win a prize, and if you do happen to win, it's not really what you thought it was going to be. It kind of plays on that kind of a theme, and like I said, the album cover concept was going to be based on not only that, but like I said, this old movie, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, these evil clowns. And on the original cover, they were supposed to be kind of laughing at the band, like they had gotten, they had deceived us or something. And that's kind of the same concept with this new cover. The clown's kind of, I don't know if he's telling us to keep it quiet or he's got a secret. I'm not sure what the imagery is with that, but it's definitely more along what our original concept was for the record.
And yeah, because I'm looking at it, it's a beautiful cover. I think technology, of course, kind of helps out with some of the smooth the edges out. Back then, we weren't as blessed, or maybe we were, not having all this technology in our hands. But I think we're looking good with this one now. As I was before I had you on, I was pleasantly surprised that. And I was going to ask you about the demos and the songs, but I was also going to ask you about live footage. And I believe there was a couple of videos out. I think it's on the YouTube channel. Now, if you go back in that time, where were some of these concerts recorded? Was it from one show or just different snippets from different shows?
Yeah, recently we started releasing, about the time of this re-release, started putting some content out on our Seraiah YouTube channel. And we took a video camera with us like everywhere that we went. We had it in the studio, we had it, on the road with us. There was just a ton of footage that we had sitting there kind of in the vault, so to speak. And just seemed like a good time to start putting some of that out. Again, Eonian Records has done a couple of music videos, well-produced music videos. Of course, we had some kind of, back in the day, a couple of self-produced music videos that were real great. But Eonians come in, and there's a music video for the song Devastating Daydream, which kind of is a, I guess you would call that kind of a, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a dramatized kind of story of the song. And then we've got a second video that's for the ballad No More Tears to Cry, which is kind of like a best way I can describe that video. It's kind of like a Bon Jovi Wanted Dead or Alive. It's black and white, and it's concert footage and stuff from the road. But it was real neat to see that one come together, because there's a lot of footage from a lot of different shows, and like I said, on the road, and some behind the scenes stuff, and fans, and just about everything in that video. And then we're getting ready to release a third music video. I think it comes out in another week or so for the song Rise Up, which, like I said earlier, was kind of the hit off of Carnival World, went to number 2 on the charts back in the day. And this video is more of like I guess you would call it like a lyric video. It's got a ton of photos in it, and then of course it's a lyric video with the lyrics to the song. But I just saw it the other day. It's pretty cool.
You mentioned the titles of these songs, and as you're talking, hear them in my mind. My brain has not forgotten these songs. Although I couldn't sing verse by verse because I'm a terrible singer, but I know these songs. I've played this album, I'm gonna say hundreds of times, and you're bringing back some really great memories. And I'll put the link to the YouTube channel on the episode description so that our friends, listeners of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday can check it out. Some of them might be just learning about Seraiah for the very first time, and some, some Christian metal fans out there, I know doggone well they know Seraiah. Now, we talked earlier about our days ordering demos or selling demos, and you guys sold out, eventually made more, and eventually send them out to the fans. So why do I bring that up? Because now we're talking about this beauty right here.
Yeah, Demolish This. So this is as crazy as it sounds, there have been people for years asking, can I get a copy of your original demo? The 4-song demo that was for sale in White Throne, Heaven's Metal. Like I said, people mailed in their $5 and got that demo back in the day. And to me, it's crazy that all these years later, people are asking, hey, was that ever put on CD, or could I get a copy of that? Or so again, Aeonian Records thought it was worthwhile to dig deep in the archives and not only bring back that 4-song demo, again, remixed, remastered, but dig even deeper and find some unreleased tracks, which there's 2 songs on there, one called Come On Get Up and a song called Why. Those are pretty well produced songs. We went in a studio, I think that was I want to say it's in Anderson, Indiana, or Alexandria, Indiana. I can't remember which. A really nice studio that we recorded those in. And they never got released. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 other songs on there that were never released either. They are the ones. So the title of this CD again is Demolish This, but it's got the subtitle Raw, Rough, and Unreleased. Well, the last 4 tracks are the ones that are the raw. I think they were all recorded just on a little 4-track portable recorder in our rehearsal space. But they're songs that at some point we had played live and never made it on either of the records. So again, Aeonian came in, fixed those up, and compiled these all together on Demolish This. So hopefully there's some happy fans out there that have been wanting that for years and are going to pick that up and finally kind of hit that craving for the old demo tape.
I'm one of those people that I love the raw sound of demo tapes, and I'm definitely going to pick up my copy of this very soon. Now, and I know that sometimes you go into the vault. I don't know where your vault is. I have a vault here. I have one in front of me, my old stuff from back in the days of when I used to do things. And I also have my garage full of bins, full of CDs, and also nostalgic things. I got stacks of Heaven's Metal, White Throne, fanzines from back then. I even had my own for a little while. And I loved every second of the scene. I love the scene. In fact, I still love it now. And if you see some CDs, I don't know if you can really see it behind me, but I got a majority of them right here. I got more in crates somewhere while fit in the studio. If I were to go to your house, my friend, and we were to open up the vaults, is there anything in there that you have yet to release or the fans have not seen?
There might be something. I tell you what, with these re-releases, we've dug pretty deep in getting into a lot of stuff, like the CD version of they're calling it the definitive edition of Carnival World, has over 100 photos. Most of those never released. A lot of those came from me. I guess somehow I ended up as kind of the caretaker of all things Seraiah and have tons of photos. I've got a box somewhere that has flyers from so many shows that we had done. And some of those are included. I can't remember which release it is. Either the Demolishes or Carnival World. One of those in the booklet has some actual flyers, old flyers from concerts in there. Demolish This actually has some handwritten lyrics for a couple of the songs that's in there. So yeah, there's a lot that's never been seen or heard before on these two releases. But there's probably some more to come. I'll say this: there's a ton more video in the archive that we're gonna trickle out, here and there as people can hopefully want to continue to see this stuff. But yeah, there's a little more in the vault still. Another thing on the Carnival World Definitive Edition on the CD, there are 7 live tracks that have been added, and they're all tracks from the second record, the self-titled record, but in their live version, which again, when people got that second record, they said it was overproduced, overpolished, and I agree. It didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to. We gave too much kind of control to the producer and let him polish those songs up a little bit too much. But fortunately for us, we've got these 7 live tracks of some of those songs in their more raw form of the way they should have been done in the first place. So, like I said, I kind of see all of this as just righting so many wrongs that we had along the way. And you never know, there's been a little bit of talk of maybe we'll do something with that second self-titled record, either newly recorded versions of those songs or a reimagined something to get those kind of back in the form that they should have been. But that might be a while before that happens. But all that to say, I think there's more Seraiah to come.
And you answered the question that was in my mind, and I really appreciate you taking the thoughts and answering it, because I was going to follow up with the same question. But no, that's excellent. So we got more to look forward to. Now, seeing that the name Seraiah has been around for a long time and more is to come, if you were to talk to new fans that haven't discovered the band yet, if you could pick at least, I'm going to say 3 songs that would be a great introduction for a new Seraiah fan to listen to, which ones would you pick?
Oh, wow. Probably my favorite song, and it wasn't originally on Carnival World. It's one of the live tracks that actually is appeared on the second record was a song called New Kind of Voodoo. Um, yeah, this live version of that. Actually, I listened to it in the car on the way here today, just listening to it again. That's one of my favorite songs that we did. I just thought that really everything came together in that song. And I think it's a really good representation of the band. Not so much the album version, but the live version. Carnival World, the song would be another one for me that I think really exemplifies the band. Probably off of Carnival World, the big fan favorite was the song Devastating Daydream. That song always kind of hit live. So I guess those would be my picks. Carnival World, Devastating Daydream, and New Kind of Voodoo.
Amazing. I want to give you my three, and which would be the title track, Carnival World. We got Devastating Daydream and Rise Up. Three monster songs in this album. I mean, I am not overselling it. I'm underselling it. I think those are really great tracks, and I think the fans, the new fans, will enjoy possibly also the remix version as well. Now, for the magic question before we go, and you probably said it earlier, but I think it's definitely worth repeating. For our good friends and listeners of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, they would like to get their own copy of Carnival World, the re-release and remix, and Demolish This. Where's the best place for them to find out?
Well, domestically in the U.S., you're going to need to go to eonianrecords.com. It's only sold through their website. No Amazon, no any other outlets, only sold direct through their label website. But internationally, it's actually in retail stores. Actually got a message from a fan in the Netherlands that said he picked it up in a record store in the Netherlands. So around the world, it's going to be in some retail stores, other online sites, but like I said, domestically, you're going to want to go to eonianrecords.com and order direct from them.
Amazing. And definitely the link to that will be on the show description as well. Kyle, this has been amazing. I'm so happy to have you on, not only discuss your experience in Seraiah, but a little bit of the history. And I know there's more to discuss. And, you know, once the newer, older stuff comes back out and there's another project, please come back on the show. Let's discuss more about Seraiah. Let's talk about the times on the road, and let's discuss what happened between the last record and today. Let's fill in the gap, and then we can just, you know, just reminisce and have some fun with this and listen to this record. Kyle?
Yeah, definitely.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for being on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been great. And I encourage everybody to go out and pick up Carnival World Definitive Edition. I can't say enough about the night and day difference that this remix and remaster has made. A lot of times you hear about records being remixed, remastered, and, you know, there's a little bit of difference. I'm going to tell you the difference is huge with this record. Yeah, this has made all the difference, and I just want to take the time to thank Eonian Records and Steve Cragg for making it happen. It being such a labor of love for them to make it happen, and that's been great for me. Like I said, it's something now that, not that I was not proud of it before, but in its form now, I can look at this and be really proud of what we did, you know, even so many years ago. So go pick it up, Carnival World Definitive Edition. Demolish This if you really want to dive deep into kind of the early days of the band, but both just really great releases. So appreciate it.
I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the TCC Research Channel, home of Mysteries Unlimited TV, Let's Find Out with Diego, and the free documentary playlist. I'm Thomas Markle. Here on this channel, we explore Appalachian mysteries, cryptids, UFOs, folklore, and the paranormal. Every week, you'll find new episodes of Let's Find Out, bonus Overdrive, live stream discussions, and original documentaries. We talk with authors, researchers, investigators, musicians, and people with real stories to tell. If you're into unexplained encounters, strange phenomenon, and deep dive conversations, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and join us. There's always something new to explore.
All content on this broadcast is a property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Bonus Overdrive Wednesday. The information shared on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.